Okay. I got a lot of comments in the previous Canadiens video from yesterday, not the Mete one, but the one from yesterday, saying that we needed to talk about this article. And, because of how painful it is, I kind of want to go through with it just because it would be an experience, especially in a time where we have so many news pieces coming about with the Vancouver Canucks that are just so negative with the way the fan base is reacting to them, that, hey, why not add on to that discussion with this right here? So before we get into it, thank you to those in the previous Canadiens video who commented Max Pacioretty. If you want a chance to be featured in the next Canadiens video, stick around to the end. I'm going to market this as a Canadiens video and not a Canucks video because I know Canucks fans are not going to want to watch this one. And Canadiens fans are just going to be, popping the popcorn, putting some butter on it, maybe some salt and pepper, and just crunching on that oh so delectably while you're watching me, a Canucks fan, writhe in pain, talking about this Tyler Toffoli article. Yes, so the Players Tribune. This is a website where athletes from all around the sporting world can share stories about their lives, whether or not that relates to the sport they play. Not always the case, but sometimes it is, and it normally is a very, very deep kind of dive into the psyche of the ones that play the sports that we love. And Tyler Toffoli published himself an article on this Players Tribune platform earlier yesterday, and it's just, man, the tweet, the tweet came out, and it was just blank right in the face of Canucks fans. The title of the article is this: I Was Meant to Be a Hab by Tyler Toffoli. You can kind of see Jason Bruff on Twitter. The immediate response when he saw this was, oh god. And that's kind of what everybody here in this city, because I do live in Vancouver, was saying when they saw this pop up on their timeline. Oh god, really? We're gonna do this again? We're gonna bring up the Tyler Toffoli thing again? Emphasize one of the wrong decisions Jim Benning made during this tenure again? And before anybody goes in the comments, oh, they wouldn't have had money to do this or do that. Really? Tyler Toffoli is one of the top players in the entire National Hockey League in goals this year. Could the Canucks have used somebody like that? Yeah, I think they would have. They would have been better with Tyler Toffoli, and the fact is they had the rights to negotiate a contract with this guy before any other team in the league, and that includes Montreal. So, going over this article here, Tyler Toffoli opens up this piece, I Was Meant to Be a Hab, by talking about how he was a D-list celebrity in LA, which is honestly pretty cool. The fact that you can be recognized by some people, you're a guy who's got his fans, and you've got yourself some privileges in this community, like getting tickets to games or seeing Kobe Bryant on the street and all that stuff. You're somebody, but you're not somebody to the point that you're not capable of walking down Santa Monica without getting mobbed by people wanting your autograph and paparazzi asking for your picture and all that stuff. It's not really like that. You're just a guy on the NHL team that happens to be in LA, and that is not a top-of-the-line celebrity in Los Angeles. Tyler Toffoli spoke about his experience playing for the Kings and how exactly that was. We all kind of knew that Tyler Toffoli back in his Kings days with that 70s line. I was about to say just 70s line. I kind of don't feel right saying just the 70s line. It's got to be that 70s line specifically, but Jeff Carter, Tanner Pearson, Tyler Toffoli playing on that 70s line together. Really good stuff, winning Stanley Cups and doing all that. Toffoli, of course, maxing out with a 31-goal campaign in 2015-16 and 58 points, his career high still to this day. Eventually, though, you take a look at what happens afterwards, and he writes about how he really hasn't come close to winning a Stanley Cup since those days when he was 22. And that bothers him. It really does, which is why he wanted to come to Montreal. He also then talks about how he felt like he would be an LA King for life, how he was on a team that he felt would be his home, even though they had some bad seasons, even though Daryl Sutter would have his way with the team and all that, he still felt like this was the team that he was going to be a part of. Eventually, though, he goes over the trade rumors of 2020, what happened in 2019-20 that eventually led him to a path to believing, hey, I'm in trade rumors, things might happen, the writing is on the wall. He ends up scoring a hat trick in his last game as an LA King, and eventually he gets traded to Vancouver. in what the media here defines as a blockbuster move, and he kind of questions his own definitions of this stuff because he's been an LA King for so long, a city that has fans for the hockey team for sure, but you talk about the basketball stars, you talk about the movie stars, you talk about the celebrities in Los Angeles, and the hockey players, sure, while they technically count, they're not that high up on the totem pole. And so Tyler Toffoli highlights how he's a guy who is all of a sudden included in a blockbuster move, quote-unquote, going up to Vancouver. And eventually he's like, yeah, I underestimated or I forgot how big a deal these moves can be for Canadian markets. And for Vancouver specifically, they've got the MLS, the CFL, but hey, Vancouver is a Canuck town. He eventually does say that he was friends with Tanner Pearson, he was on a line with Miller and Pettersson, and he was a point per game in the regular season, and he was really, really effective in like one game in the playoffs, and eventually he's a free agent. And then he says this: I wanted to come back to Vancouver. I could have seen myself finishing out my career in Vancouver. But hockey is a business. I understand that. And at the end of the day, there was no offer from the Canucks' end, so we had to go another direction. It was disappointing. Oh yeah, you tell me about that, Tyler Toffoli, but I knew there was going to be a team that wanted me and saw me for the player I know I am. And this is where a lot of Canucks fans are like, oh wow, they really didn't just give him an offer, eh? Wow. Jim Benning, I guess, was really not lying when he said that they ran out of time, because to eventually find out that they didn't even give a contract offer to Toffoli, yeah, that's really interesting, considering the fact that you acquired this guy in February and you knew this was going to happen. Come on, man. Like, you could have not at least thought about it. Have some preliminary thoughts in March, or in April, or in June, or any time before October to think about, oh, we acquired this guy. We traded away a second-round pick in Tyler Madden for this guy. That's the kind of move that a cup-contending team makes. The Vancouver Canucks are not a cup-contending team. They're just a tweener team. So we have to do everything in our power to at least make it so that we didn't give up Madden and a second for nothing, for 10 games and 7 in the playoffs, and that's it. Would that have not been the right idea? Am I being too harsh again? The Canucks are a team that were transitioning from that youthful, rebuilding stage, which they didn't fully commit to, by the way. They kind of lucked into that status because they got Petey and Hughes in the draft, and they were in a position where they were transitioning from that into a Stanley Cup maybe contender, and they do a move that sacrifices the future even though they're not all the way in that contender status yet. So what do they do with that asset they acquire? Hey, they leave him to the very last second, they don't even send him an offer, and he goes to Montreal a few days after the free agency period opens up. Man, see, this is why I don't talk about the Canucks anymore, because they make me sad. Make me very, very, very sad. So, talking about things that make me happy instead, let's go over onto what Tyler Toffoli says about the Canadiens. He says that while he was in the bubble, he was watching Nick Suzuki. He's serious. He didn't get to see a lot of him because they were playing the Penguins, and he was like, yeah, I want to play in this guy's line one day. And he eventually says that the fans were also something that really made him want to sign with Montreal, because playing against the Kings, knowing how the Habs fan base was like over there, he knows how it is, and he was like, yeah, that's crazy. Eventually, he says the piece about wanting to win a cup, which is why he went to Montreal, and then he has the entire thing that kind of rubs salt in the wound, talking about his first game against Vancouver where he scored the hat trick. You've read the article, you already know what it's like, the Canucks going out there and chirping the guy. Even though Toffoli and the Canadiens end up losing in a shootout, Toffoli still was in there with a hat trick. And he wraps up the piece by talking about how fun this entire year has been, and yeah, it's been really fun to watch the Canadiens out there, especially with Toffoli. I mean, actually no, I'd be lying if I said that it was fun to watch the Canadiens the entire season, because yeah, they had some pretty bad stretches this year. But either way though, Toffoli says, hey, Caulfield, he's really good, it factor, all that, he's gonna be great. But he ends everything off by saying this: was I born to be a Hab? Look, I'm a kid from Scarborough, Ontario, who grew up going to Leafs games, so I don't think so. But life is weird. Hockey is weird too. And I believed this is where I'm supposed to be. So again, was I born to be a Hab? Nah, probably not. But am I meant to be one? You're darn right I am. And that wraps up our video here today talking about the Tyler Toffoli article. Hey, you asked for it. You really did. I had so many comments in the previous video saying, hey, talk about the Toffoli article. Talk about the Toffoli article. I had people tweeting me this on Twitter. And I was like, yeah, I saw it already. Please. Okay, we made a video. Go ahead and comment in the comment section below Ottawa 67s if you made it to the end of this video, because, yeah, if you want a chance to be featured in the next Habs video, then go ahead and do that. But if you're a Canucks fan, if you're a Habs fan, either way, talk to me in the comments what you think about Tyler Toffoli and the article that came out at such an opportune time where Vancouver Canucks fans are already still kind of grieving at how bad this team is playing out there. Talking about Michael DiPietro and the Utica Comets and Lockwood and Gadjevich not being able to play and all that stuff. All of these other negative energy confiding situations with the team that I haven't even spoken about yet. Yeah, we'll make a video about that tomorrow. I'm kind of upset already, so let's go ahead and end this video off here. I'll leave a link in the description to the Tyler Toffoli article if you want a chance to go ahead and read that yourself. It is a great, great read. I hope you enjoyed this. Was Trolls 99, and bye.